Tales from the Crypt. Showdown presents itself as a remarkable example of horror storytelling that fuses suspense, psychological tension, and moral ambiguity in a way that keeps the audience on edge from beginning to end. Right from the opening scene, the audience is immediately thrust into an atmosphere that is both familiar and unsettling, a hallmark of the series itself, but elevated here by a heightened sense of confrontation and the promise of inevitable consequences. The film begins with a seemingly innocuous town setting where the daily lives of ordinary people are suddenly disrupted by the arrival of a mysterious stranger whose motives are unclear. The cinematography at this stage is deliberately meticulous, with long tracking shots through deserted streets and darkened alleyways, creating a sense of anticipation and unease that lingers throughout the early sequences. One of the most striking aspects of this initial segment is how the camera lingers on ordinary objects that later become instruments of horror, foreshadowing the events to come and highlighting the show's ability to find menace in the mundane. The stranger, who is both charismatic and menacing, interacts with townspeople in ways that are superficially charming but ultimately manipulative, establishing an immediate moral tension. His presence alone seems to warp the ordinary into the extraordinary, forcing characters to confront their own fears, desires, and weaknesses, which is a recurring theme throughout Tales from the Crypt episodes, but here is expanded into a sustained narrative arc. The first encounter between the stranger and the town's authority figure exemplifies the narrative's mastery of suspense. There is a quiet intensity in the dialogue, a subtle push and pull between the two characters that suggests underlying motives that are never fully revealed, creating a psychological chess game that unfolds gradually. Every line of dialogue seems carefully chosen to reveal more about character psychology than plot mechanics, which is a testament to the show's ability to combine horror with deeply human storytelling. As the stranger insinuates himself further into the lives of the townspeople, the tension escalates, particularly during a sequence set in the town saloon, where lighting and sound are used to remarkable effect. Shadows stretch unnaturally across faces, and the creaking of floorboards becomes almost a character in its own right, emphasizing the unpredictability and lurking threat within seemingly safe spaces. One of the most memorable scenes involves a confrontation in the town square, where the narrative shifts from psychological tension to overt horror. The director carefully stages the space so that every possible exit and vantage point is considered, making the confrontation feel inescapable. The stranger's motives, previously ambiguous, begin to crystallize, revealing a chilling mixture of personal vendetta and supernatural malevolence. The townspeople, who initially appeared complacent and ordinary, are forced to reveal their darker natures under pressure, exposing flaws, secrets, and hidden desires that complicate the moral landscape of the story. It is in this crucible of conflict that the episode truly shines, as it examines the interplay between justice and vengeance, morality and survival, showing that the line between hero and villain is often disturbingly thin. In terms of character development, Showdown is particularly effective at juxtaposing ordinary human fears with extraordinary circumstances. Each character is meticulously written, their choices reflecting not just personal history but also the broader societal pressures and anxieties that frame the town's existence. There is a scene in which a character must make a harrowing choice that seems minor at first glance but carries profound moral weight, demonstrating how the series consistently plays with the consequences of human action and inaction. The stranger, as a catalyst for these revelations, functions almost like a dark mirror, reflecting the hidden aspects of each character's psyche back at them, forcing the audience to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves in the process. The narrative does not provide easy answers, which is one of its most compelling features, as it insists on moral complexity rather than simplistic good versus evil dichotomies. Visually, Showdown is striking in its use of color, shadow, and composition to enhance narrative tension. The director frequently employs close-ups to capture fleeting expressions of fear, doubt, and realization, allowing the audience to experience the psychological horror alongside the characters. This approach is complemented by a sound design that alternates between silence and sudden, jarring noises, amplifying the suspense in a way that feels organic rather than manipulative. Notably, the film also uses environmental cues to heighten tension, such as sudden changes in weather or lighting that correspond with shifts in narrative tone, reinforcing the sense that the world itself is conspiring against the characters. Such attention to detail creates a rich, immersive experience that transcends typical horror tropes and encourages viewers to become deeply invested in the story. Comparisons can be drawn between Showdown and other Tales from the Crypt episodes in the way it combines traditional Western motifs with supernatural and psychological horror. The small-town setting evokes classic Western confrontations, while the narrative structure echoes morality plays in which every action carries consequences. However, Showdown distinguishes itself through the depth of its character exploration and the sophistication of its suspense, elevating it beyond mere genre entertainment into a more reflective examination of fear, power, and human nature. There is a particular scene in which the protagonist faces an impossible moral dilemma, choosing between personal gain and the safety of others, which resonates strongly because it challenges the audience to consider what they might do in the same situation. These moments of introspection are what give the episode lasting impact, encouraging repeated viewings and thoughtful discussion. Beyond narrative and technical aspects, Showdown is also remarkable for its pacing and structural cohesion. The story unfolds with a rhythm that gradually builds tension without ever feeling rushed, allowing suspense to accumulate naturally while keeping viewers engaged. Each scene transitions seamlessly into the next, maintaining narrative momentum while simultaneously providing space for character reflection and audience contemplation. The interplay between action-driven sequences and quieter, more introspective moments ensures that the horror feels both immediate and psychologically resonant. The finale is particularly effective, resolving key plot points while leaving lingering questions that invite speculation, a signature element of Tales from the Crypt storytelling that rewards attentive viewers and reinforces the series' commitment to intellectual as well as emotional engagement. From a personal perspective, watching Showdown evokes a sense of nostalgic appreciation for the era of storytelling it represents, combining practical effects, atmospheric tension, and moral complexity in a way that feels increasingly rare in modern horror. The attention to detail, both in terms of set design and character nuance, creates a textured world that feels lived in and real, even amidst supernatural or extraordinary elements. Scenes that may initially seem straightforward often reveal hidden layers upon subsequent viewings, from subtle foreshadowing to visual metaphors that underscore the narrative's thematic depth. Moreover, the episode's ability to balance horror with humor and irony, characteristic of the series, prevents it from becoming overly grim while still delivering genuine shocks and moments of suspense. In conclusion, Tales from the Crypt, Showdown stands as a masterclass in horror storytelling, successfully blending suspense, psychological tension, and moral inquiry into a cohesive and compelling narrative. From the meticulously crafted opening scenes to the psychologically charged confrontations and the thought-provoking finale, the episode demonstrates the series' capacity to engage viewers on multiple levels. Its visual style, character development, and narrative structure coalesce to create an immersive experience that is both frightening and intellectually stimulating. Showdown is not merely an episode of horror entertainment. It is a nuanced exploration of human nature under pressure, a meditation on the consequences of choice, and a testament to the enduring power of well-crafted suspense. Even years after its initial airing, it continues to captivate, challenge, and entertain, confirming its status as a standout episode within the Tales from the Crypt canon.